am in the process right now of going live on YouTube.
Ear spray.
And as soon as it's live on YouTube, we will get started.
If I would care to do my audio.
There we go. We're live on YouTube.
I could get myself on YouTube if I would. If I would put if I put the view on and say something, I would get on.
Okay. So I'd like to welcome everyone to the joint meeting of the Maryland Heights and Creve Coeur Township Democratic Clubs. It's a pleasure to have everyone here. And I'd like to introduce, I'm Harvey Ferdman, I'm president of the Maryland Heights Township Democratic Club. And I'd like to introduce Florence Pullen, who is president of the Creve Coeur Township Democratic Club. And Florence, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be really appreciated.
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and from here we go to some announcements. And I would like to start, let's see, here's my announcements. Start with LaDonna Applebaum. LaDonna, if you would unmute yourself, and you have an announcement for you and Representative LaDonna Applebaum, and for Representative Doug Clemens.
Good evening. Nice to see everyone.
Just like 5 minutes. Maybe takes 5 minutes.
Hey, I'd like for you all to attend if possible, or mark it on your calendar and help spread the word that on Wednesday, September 8th, myself and Representative Doug Clemens, we're having our kickoff event up at the CWA Hall in Maryland Heights. It's the Communication Workers Hall, which is at 2258 Grissom Drive. And I will put all of this in the chat box. But like I said, it's a joint fundraiser. We're going to have lots of good food and drinks. And apparently we're going to have some really good music. And there's going to be an app that's being passed, or an app that you can use from your phone to take pictures of that evening. And it's going to immediately go to the TV in the hall. But also we're going to be doing stuff with Facebook Live. So, you know, we say it's a campaign kickoff event. I'm thinking we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be more like a rally than it is a traditional campaign event. So if anyone has any questions about it, my cell phone is 314-520-3094. I'll put all of that in the chat box as well. Anyway, good to see everybody.
Excellent, thank you. And I do apologize, I forgot to ask elected officials to introduce themselves. So we do now know that Representative LaDonna Applebaum is here. She represents, I believe it's the 71st, is that correct, LaDonna? Okay, which is roughly parts of Creve Coeur and Maryland Heights and kind of that area. It's all kind of cut up.
Yeah, unincorporated, Overland, all of that.
Very good. Other elected officials, Paula, if you want to introduce yourself.
Nah. Hi, Paula Brown, State Representative, District 70.
Thank you, and that's primarily Maryland Heights area.
Actually, it goes from Hazelwood all the way to Chesterfield and St. Charles.
Yep, I was going to say, it takes in Chesterfield, that's where I am, parts of Chesterfield. other elected officials who are on here, if you'll just unmute and
Good evening, everyone. Councilwoman Nicole Greer from the city of Creve Coeur.
thank you, Nicole. Anyone else?
Farrakhan Shigab, committee man from University Township.
And on the Senate, the State Senate Commission, Redistricting Commission.
Thanks, Harvey, and one of Harvey's fellow commissioners on the Senate Redistricting Commission.
Yeah. And so is Nicole Greer, by the way. She's also on the Senate Redistricting Commission.
Yes, elected and appointed.
Yeah. Any other elected officials?
I'm Annie Marshall. I am committee woman for the Jefferson Township Committee. I'm also the chairperson for the St. Louis Community College Board of Trustees.
Diane
Thank you.
Caston, I'm the Lee May Township Committee woman in Senate District 1 Committee.
Excellent. I think we have Dave and Dale Steinberg coming on.
Yeah, we're trying to
Okay,
unmute.
we're here. We're unmuted.
We're the committee people from Maryland Heights Township.
We can remute, I guess, so we don't cause any trouble.
Okay.
Dawn Banks, committee woman for First Capital Township in St. Charles County.
Excellent. Any others?
Yes, I'm Morton Todd. I'm chairman of the St. Charles County Central Committee, and I'd like to also, Harvey told me I could plug our First Capital Days dinner coming up this Friday, our 39th annual dinner. Of course, last year we had to skip, but we're looking to a big crowd. We're going to honor Ted House, who's retired from the bench this year. He's also a former state senate and state representative and ran for Congress several years back. I think Dawn was going to put the link in for everybody. So if anybody's interested in coming, we're also having our kickoff for the Robert Kelly Heroes in Labor Award this year. We're going to honor Gina Walsh and Dan Candlebinder from the UAW. So hopefully we'll see a few of you there. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just noticed the link is up for the banquet this Friday. Big fundraiser for St. Charles County Democrats, and they do a great job utilizing the funds they raise. Let's see. Also, I have an announcement that we had planned a picnic for August 29th. There was a little bit of publicity that went out, and then we pulled it back because of the Delta variant running around. We decided that we would rather not do that this time and see how things develop and if things calm down a little bit. So if you had Sunday, August 29th on your calendar, that is no longer happening. And hopefully we'll have another opportunity to do something where we can meet in person outdoors and have a good time. Another announcement, Annie Marshall, if you want to just say a couple of words about the bond issue that was passed for the community colleges and how important that is.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to take just a second to thank everybody for voting yes for Proposition R. Those funds are going to help our students get more classes in fields that are in our metro area where we're really hurting. In other words, nursing, we're down 2,500 nurses in St. Louis metro. So we want to hire more teachers to teach more students to become nurses. So we can really fill that gap. Also, IT is, there's such a need metro-wide also for IT. Our classrooms need to be reimagined for a 21st century education. And this funding is really going to help all of that. So these jobs, the careers that these folks are going to be able to have are going to help our greater metro and make it a better place for everybody in St. Louis. So thank you again. I'm really excited about it. We have our first We're having a meeting in just this Thursday, Thursday night. I don't believe we're going to be discussing what the plans are exactly. We're going to do some workshops in between now and our September meeting. So, but we're really excited about it. And it's the greatest news of all is that we have a very forward-thinking board. We are all in for the students and for student success. So that's where we're all headed. We're all headed in the right direction. So, but again, major thanks to the community for coming out and voting yes for Prop R. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, and thanks for all the work you do with the Community College District. That's a really important resource. Also, Farrakhan, I don't know if you're prepared to talk about the meeting you had mentioned inviting us to. Is now a good time, or do you want to just send out an email later? Farrakhan, I'll give you a chance to unmute. There you are.
Yeah, I'll send out an email. We're still waiting on one last township to commit. So we're just waiting for all of the townships to commit before we send an invitation to the whole area.
Okay. Just briefly, watch for an email. Farrakhan and his townships that he's involved with, U-City and a few others, are in the process of putting something together that we will be invited to once the plans solidify.
Yeah, so, yeah. Well,
stay tuned.
I'll go ahead and share it, Harvey, because you pretty much shared it. But University Township is we're planning to host a joint township with our neighbors, Midland, Normandy, Hadley, Clayton, and also Creve Coeur. Those are all of our neighbors here in University Township. And since I'm on the Maryland Heights Township, we might as well extend that invitation to you all as well. But we're hoping to have that on August the 26th this month here in University City, Heman Park.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
What time, Harvey?
What time?
It'll be at 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, and that was Florence, who's the chair of the Creve Coeur Club. So yeah, if you can send something out, and I'll get it circulated around. Okay. Anyone else have any announcements? Kathy, you're muted if you're talking. I think you're talking to someone else. Okay. So we will, did I hear someone else who has an announcement?
I do. I'm sorry. I do have another announcement. The St. Louis Democrat Committee gave us a lovely budget to print vaccination flyers, which we have done. And we've gotten, we've made packets, vaccination flyer packets to be delivered to neighborhoods that are most vulnerable. I don't know what the status. I was out of town the week before and had a lot going on this week. So, but I know that we have more packets. We have more flyers to be delivered to these vulnerable neighborhoods. As we know, it's super important to get everybody vaccinated. This flyer, I think, is so great. Jennifer Lohman, who was one of our Thomas Eagleton winners, she designed the flyer, and it has the websites of vaccines.gov and stlcorona.com. And we're just trying to hit every house in these vulnerable neighborhoods. So if you can please grab a friend, grab three. So we need 3 people per team, 1 person driving and 2 people getting out and delivering these. But the weather's it's not too hot, which is a godsend. And this is so easy. It's not picking which door, it's going to every door. So we really need your help. And if you want to get involved with that, please message me in the chat. I'm also going to give you my email, and I will tell you how to get the flyers. But thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, I would like to introduce our first speaker, State Representative Paula Brown, who has been working with a number of committees in the Missouri State Legislature, one of them having to do with the issues around teaching critical race theory. And Paula, as an educator and a state representative, I think is very well positioned to explain to us what it is and what's happening and what we can do. So Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Harvey. Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. So you're probably only going to hear me say critical race theory about 2 times tonight, because critical race theory is a very specific postgraduate curriculum, and it's taught on it's an elective course. It's intense, it is important work, but it is not something that we are really we're doing it all at the K-12 area. So let me be specific. So lobbyists, dark money has come in, and they want to use words like telling of history, honest telling of history, diversity, cultural competency, and their umbrella, and they're putting it under the umbrella of critical race theory, neither of which are a thing at this point. Since they're using it as to redefine what we're teaching, the strategy right now is to whip everyone into a frenzy. And I want to read a quote to you, because this is being handled by like the Show Me Institute, people who support vouchers, privatization, charter schools, and the legislators who support those ideas. So I just want to read you this quote because it's really important. It's a coordinated effort across the country. And Christopher Rufo, and I'm not sure about the pronunciation, he's a prominent opponent of a right-wing Manhattan Institute. And this is what his Twitter account said. We have successfully frozen their brand, critical race theory, into the public conversation and are steadily driving up negative perceptions. We will eventually turn it toxic as we put all of the various cultural insanities under the brand category. The goal is to have the public read something crazy in the newspaper and immediately think critical race theory. So let me go on to explain that. Right now they have 2 pages of words that people are supposed to look for. So if you say that we're going to talk about inclusion in a lesson, inclusion now is a word that should make your brain go to the CRT narrative that they are creating, not the one that we are creating. So critical race theory is one thing, but this is what they're doing with the term. They're making the term toxic. It should not be. They're using it for political gain and privatization of schools, public schools. And that is their whole motivator. And they're doing this across the country. Right now, we have 10 states that have a ban on teaching CRT. But what's interesting to me is in many of those bills, you can't talk about sexism, racism, genderism, can't talk about the LGBT community, you can't talk about Black and brown communities, you can't talk about Jewish communities. And all of those things are now, if you talk about them and you make someone uncomfortable, the school district and the teacher can be sued for a hefty fine. The teacher can lose their teaching license, and all because we have made someone uncomfortable with what we teach every day. The interesting piece about what happens in Missouri and what's taught in Missouri is that, number one, we don't have Common Core anymore because people didn't care for that. So the legislators changed it. But the state standards that are taught in history were developed by legislators. So the same people who developed these standards are now speaking out against the standards that they created. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. I think what is important for all of us to talk about is about what we should be teaching kids. Students should be taught about community values. They should be taught about, those values and how to deal with different people who are not raised like them, people don't look like them, people who have different challenges them so that they can be ready for the 21st century skill jobs that we know that we need and that they're going to need. We should also be talking about and teaching kids integrity. Integrity is so important for all of us. We know what the importance, we need to teach about the integrity of young people as they come up through and grow into be adults. We don't want censorship. This is what this is going to become. It's going to be censorship. There are going to be no honesty in our teaching. It was very interesting to me, and we'll talk about the joint committee hearing in a minute, but Representative Nick Schroer said he wanted the hard facts of history taught. But if we have any of these bans, I don't know how we teach that. I don't know how that looks when a teacher talks about African-American students and their allies being sprayed with water hoses. I don't know what that looks like. In my world, we teach our storied history is glorious and ugly all at the same time. And without teaching all of it, we can't get kids to where they need to be. And we also doom ourselves to repeat history. So I'm not sure what it looks like if we get a ban. So let's talk about the joint committee hearing. We had a first joint committee hearing. It was very weird because the chair of the Joint Committee on Education is Senator Cindy O'Laughlin. She called the meeting, let us know right up front that there would be no public speakers. When we never got the list, I got the list at 10:30 in the morning. I was heading up for a noon hearing. So I didn't get the list in time to really peruse it or understand who would be talking. But so the invited guests were all from the other side, except for one professor who actually teaches critical race theory from the University of Missouri in Columbia. And that professor he declined to attend. So it was all speakers in favor of banning what they are now defining as cultural race theory. Again, remember, we just call it truth in history. So those people got to speak, questions were asked and answered. It was about almost 3 hours. But we had people say things like, we're indoctrinating children. My daughter came home and said she didn't want to be white anymore. There were some crazy things being said. There's a national speaker at that hearing, and I want to say her name was Mary Byrne, who talked about all the things in curriculum that are indoctrinating children to a liberal viewpoint. If you caught the news conference afterwards, you heard us all talk about the fact that nobody from the other side of the issue was allowed to speak. They weren't invited. I will say to you, on Friday at 4:30 in the afternoon, I was emailed and said, if you want to invite somebody, you can. It's very challenging to get a speaker to come to Jefferson City at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon when the meeting is at noon or 1 o'clock on a Monday. So, but there's been enough calls and enough emails that Senator O'Laughlin has called for another joint committee hearing. We've invited a list of 10 people to come and speak from a variety of spaces, ACLU, NAACP, educational groups, the Jewish League, several different groups are going to speak and talk about what really is happening in classrooms, what should be happening in classrooms, and how our conversations in classrooms should be shaped on what is happening out in the real world. I'm excited for this hearing. I'm looking forward to it, but I will tell you, I'm gritting my teeth as well. I worry that some of our expert witnesses are going to be not treated appropriately. I am concerned that we have a retired educator coming to speak because, strangely enough, this hearing was scheduled on the first day back to school. And just an aside from this particular mess, there have been several bills floated through the legislature to stop public educators from being able to come up and testify. for, against, they're welcome to come up and talk about just informational purposes, but they're not allowed to not like something or like something very well. So we are facing that on top of everything else. At this point, I would love to take some questions because this particular topic is very deep and wide, and there are all kinds of different opinions about it. But educationally speaking, what I would say to you is that the truth in teaching is the most imperative piece. And the truth in teaching always includes diversity, inclusion, and all the ugly parts of what we have going on from our past.
Thank you. If anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand either visually or by using the hand raise in Zoom if you know how to do that. And Alan, if you would help me look for anyone that has their hand raised. I can't see everyone.
Sure. Diane, looks like you've got yours. Go ahead.
When is this hearing?
Oh, I apologize. Monday, August 23rd at, oh shoot, let me see the exact time. 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I see Jordan Hildebrand up. Is there a question? Dawn,
Do you have a question or just didn't mute? Okay.
Paula, you saw Don's question.
I saw a question. Yes. So the public will be able to attend the next hearing, except they are social distancing, which means they limit the number of people in a room, and they cut it in about half. And so last time we had not only we were in here in room 7. So when you're coming to the Capitol, like there's the cafeteria on your right and vending machines on your left, you would walk straight into hearing room 7. If you came up those steps, not the front, the side steps. But we had lots of people out in the halls listening. So they were piping it out onto the TV so people could watch. So absolutely you can come, but know that you will not be able to speak. It's only invited guests who are speaking. Other questions?
Yeah, Paula, my name's Bill Bomarito, and my video's not working well, so you don't see me.
Okay.
What can you, I'm playing a little catch up here. What is the goal of the joint committee hearing? What are they trying to do?
We haven't been told what the goal is per se. So I'm gonna, from my vantage point, it looks like what they're trying to do is get a feel for how people feel about this topic here in Missouri. You also know that this group is traveling around the state, having these small little rallies in school districts. So Friday night, while I will be at the Democrat dinner for St. Charles, because I'm the only Democrat representative out there, they're having a meeting at Kirkwood, in Kirkwood, to talk about this very topic. It was really interesting. Jake Silverman sent me a text and invited me to come speak at it. And I said I didn't know what he was talking about. So he sent me the flyer. I wasn't on the flyer, but they wanted me to be part of a group that I was the only person who was against what they were doing. So I did decline. I have a previous engagement, but also it doesn't seem like a good use of my time to have it. It's not really an open discussion. Maybe I should say it that way. So the purpose is, I think, to see if they think they could get a bill passed, a bill banning what they're defining CRT in legislature this year, starting in January. But that has not been said out loud. It's just what I'm guessing from all the behaviors.
Right. And when do they hope to meet in Kirkwood?
Um, they're meeting in Kirkwood. Let me look and I can give you the exact information. I cannot remember if you have to sign up for it or not. In St. Charles, you had to sign up for it. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna show. Can you all see this? Is it too bright?
It's too bright.
Okay, Harvey, I'm gonna text this to you. If you can get it to someone who can share it, that would be great. Anyway, you'll notice that I'm not only not on the flyer, but it says superintendents and administration are invited. And it's free and open to the public, a 2-hour discussion. Let's talk about community issues. So Mary Byrne is on there, Andrew Koenig, Cindy O'Laughlin, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to bring this up. Jessica Laurent from Missouri Prosper are going to be talking.
Do they put a date and time, location?
It is August 20th. 3 to 5, Kirkwood Community Center.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sandra, did you have your hand up?
Sorry, yes, I did. I have a question for Paula. As a member of NAACP Executive Board and NEA retired, and a retired school teacher from Parkway School District for 30 years, I'm very concerned about the negative part of this topic. So what's the positive thing that we can do for getting it to people that, because the negative people seem to be the ones that are most outspoken and are getting the most press. So what can we do as positive people on this issue?
Well, I think there's 2 different ways to approach this. For those of us who really know what goes on in classrooms and what's being taught, and we understand curriculum, it's not to say that other people don't understand it. It's just that's our wheelhouse. It's what we were trained on. We need to be talking about what we were teaching in classes, and we need teachers to be talking about what they're teaching in classes. Truth and history is one of the most vital things that we teach in school. We don't get to teach enough history as it is, so they need to talk about, we're not getting in to teach enough history. They're going to ban some of it, and this is not really what's happening in classes. The other thing we need to do is citizens who believe in the truth and teaching of history need to email their their senators and their representatives here in Missouri. And you'll notice that there is no template email. And let me tell you why. A lot of people, when they see a template email, they just file it in their little file and they never read it and they never see whose name on it. They say, oh, that NEA group has all these people sending stuff out. What we need are authentic emails with people who have experiences or parents who've been in the classroom seeing what's actually being taught and what good things have come out of those classrooms. Those are the kinds of emails that legislators see. A template email. They just file it in their little file and they never see whose name on it. They say, oh, that NEA group has. I don't know what happened there, but I was hearing myself back.
A little feedback, yeah.
Okay. So it's really important that authentic emails start going to all of the legislators, and it doesn't matter who, because the people who believe that what we do and what we teach, the truth and history in public schools, is important, they're going to collect those and be advocates and allies for those of us who are in the hearings fighting. And the people who aren't, we can at least say, no, you have this from me. So when they say to me, well, I haven't heard from anybody on your side of the issue, I can gather those emails and be able to, there you go, be able to talk to them about who's emailing them, what are they saying. you can also go as far as CCing me on the email, and I will gather all of them. And that's all you have to do. Write your authentic email, CC, send it to your representative, CC it to me. And that way our conversations have a better opportunity of being open and forthright. Is that helpful? What else do we have? Oh, I see Kathy's hand up.
Just one moment. I just, correct me if I'm wrong, but this event is being run by people who are against teaching of critical race theory in schools, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Or it might be better to say they're against teaching something that's not lily white, that they're not actually engaging in critical race theory or engaging with critical race theory.
And I would go further to say this is a group who is actually interested in banning some of the things that we teach.
I heard another question out there.
Oh.
Go ahead, Kathy.
This is Kathy Merrick. First of all, I just find it absolutely ludicrous that you could say you wanted to have a hearing where you want to hear from people around the state if you won't allow anyone to testify or, or make a statement. I mean, that's just goes against common sense. But, and I'm a retired school counselor. I was a teacher before I was a counselor. But mostly I just want to register my fear at what this means, that we can't speak honestly in the classroom without fear. I mean, this is an autocratic, almost, something Nazi Germany-ish to think about that is what we're talking about. And, I am older, okay? Many of you know how old I am. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. My mother's favorite movie was Gone with the Wind, which I saw the first time when I was 4 years old. And I was a smart little girl. I mean, not brilliant, but I was a smart enough little girl. I grew up thinking that Gone with the Wind was accurate. I grew up thinking that Scarlett O'Hara's mother died because she helped a slave woman give birth in the slave quarters. I grew up thinking that slavery was bad because they weren't paid and whatever, but they had their groups and they were singing in the field. I mean, what I am saying to you is that if this lack of truth in teaching is the most frightening thing I think I have encountered in my whole life. And I have to tell you, it wasn't until I was college age, for sure, it's the first time that I really began looking at the reality of the South that I grew up in. So I don't know that I have a question. I just don't know how we overcome something that would promote that kind of just cloud over our children's view of reality as they go through school. I'm finished. Thank you.
Kathy, that would be one of my biggest fears. We are setting up teachers to be afraid to teach the truth, to address issues that may occur in their rooms. I am frightened for what it means to our future and the future of our kiddos, what they are allowed to know and what they are not allowed to know. I can tell you that when the teachers talk to me, their first question is, what are we going to be allowed to teach without getting in trouble? I saw a question or a comment in the chat from Roberta.
Yep.
Oh, Roberta.
I'm a retired teacher from Kirkwood.
So walk me through what you were saying there, please.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth attending. We're going to have a lot of teachers and a lot of community members that are coming, and they're not coming to be shut down. I know that happened in the Rockwood one and the St. Charles one, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that on Friday. So if anyone thinks that they want to attend and speak I think it'll be well worth your time. I got the email. I got a Facebook invite just like the flyer that you showed a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of parents that asked me, was I attending, and what was this about? And there are some people organizing. There's a campaign to organize to get the attendants to come out and be a part of the conversation. So I don't know what it's going to look like. I just have a feeling that it's going to be well attended based on from what I've heard.
So I'm so excited to hear that. It is going to take our parents and our public to come out and address these issues. You don't know how many times I've heard, oh, NEA is just, they own all the school boards and they're just going to do what they're told to do by the unions. And boy, if that was a correct statement, we'd be in a whole lot different case going on out here. But since it's not, I'm excited that parents are going to step up, that patrons, community members are going to come out and voice their feelings and their opinions. That is so important.
Paula, I have a question, and we do have more on the program for tonight. But can you briefly explain for people that don't know what it is? What is critical race theory?
So, critical race theory is, for the lack of a better word, philosophy, but it's not a philosophy. It's based on 5 pillars and how systemic racism talks. It doesn't talk about racist people. It talks about how systems were developed in a way that inherently keep people who who are not white, I don't want to say they keep them down, but they keep them in a position where they cannot gain wealth, they cannot gain status, they cannot gain stature, redlining,
System of oppression.
Yes, just a systemic oppression, marginalized groups. And it's more than black and brown faces. It's the indigenous, it's people with disabilities, it's people who fit into the LGBTQI community. We have created, not we, but those who created the system, whether they meant to or not, the systems are not created for all people to be envisioned equally and be treated equally and to be able to gain access to wealth and prosperity equally. So really that's what that's about. And when you hear that description, you go, oh, okay, but it's so deep and so deeply rooted that, I mean, literally it's a full course and it's a postgraduate course. So when they usurp all the diversity, equity, inclusion into that topic, while of course those are topics under critical race theory, it's too much for K-12 kids. So does that help, Harvey? It is really about the marginalized systems that are created to keep marginalized people down.
Yeah, and redlining is a really good example where they wouldn't issue mortgages in certain neighborhoods that were predominantly minority, and as many of us know, that the major way of family wealth building in the United States is property ownership historically. Right. And they made it very hard for minorities to own property, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot, that's but one example. We have 2 more questions on the table, and I want to make sure we have time for Farrakhan to speak also, because he's going to be talking about what the Urban League is doing to help bridge some of this inequality that has accumulated over the years. But let's take the last 2 questions if we can. Lois, I believe you have a question.
Yes, I think, well, it's more a statement. I think it's really important that we use social media or letters to the editor, or any chance we can get even letters to your children's or grandchildren's teachers about critical race theory and what you know about it. And if you don't know very much about it, I highly recommend the book How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. It's an excellent book. Another one is The Underground Railroad. I have had so many experiences with teachers. I was a teacher for 22 years and then a counselor for 18 years. And as a counselor, I of course had to go into classrooms sometimes to observe a student and write down my observations. And I was appalled. I didn't have problems usually with NEA teachers, because in my opinion, they're better informed and more intelligent. But some teacher, I was in a classroom one time when I heard a teacher teaching her fourth graders that slaves had a good life. I was outraged. And that's one of the things that's talked about in the book, How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. He talks about he has heard teachers who believe what they read in some textbooks in different districts. We need to be very vocal about how truth has to be taught when it comes to race. I remember the redlining. I remember it very well. My parents worked against redlining when I was a child. We have a system that is basically racist, and too many people they aren't even aware of it. And sadly, some of them are teachers.
Thank you. Very appropriate comment. Don, I believe you have a question. And
yeah, I think, as is always the case, messaging is critically important, and I'm afraid we're getting out messaged on this particular issue. And as I see it, we're not talking about teaching K through critical race theory in K through 12. We want the teachers to be able to teach history accurately. And so whatever happens going forward here, when we have public events or do social, we need to come up with a messaging campaign that sets the record straight. The only other comment is we need to have these conversations not amongst ourselves, but with all the people that we see and work with and go to church with every day, so that, we bring this issue, the reality, the truth home on this issue to everyone we know.
yeah, and I for one am really concerned in terms of messaging that they're now calling it DEI. That's very, very concerning. Diversity, equity, and inclusion seems like something that is part of history, not something that they should be trying to ban. Okay.
And Harvey, before we totally move on, there was one more question.
With you, Alan.
Yeah, there's one more question in the chat. Just asking Paula to reiterate briefly what to say in our email to representatives.
I think what we should stay away from CRT language. What you should say to people is, your messaging should be around, we must teach the truth in history. It must include diversity, equity, and inclusion. Don't make it really long, make it to the point if you want to use bullet points, but saying we have to include diversity, equity, and inclusion is a must. And don't even venture down the term of CRT or what is being taught or what is not taught. It is about truth in teaching, integrity in teaching. So whether it's the ugly part or the glorious part, it all needs to be taught.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Representative Brown. This has been very enlightening. Please stay on, and we'll have a opportunity later on for people to ask more questions.
Okay.
I'd like to at this time introduce Farrakhan Farrakhan, I believe, forgive me if I pronounce your last name wrong, Farrakhan Shagag, who is with the Urban League and has a lot of experience with trying to bring a lot of experience with bringing programs to the fore that hopefully encourage more equity and inclusion in our society. And Farrakhan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Harvey, and thanks for the invite. I do have a slideshow. Will I be able to show that?
Yeah. You're good to go.
Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. And again, thank you, Harvey, and thank you, Maryland Heights Township, for the invitation. It's always a good feeling to be around fellow Democrats because this is the one opportunity that I get to talk bad about the other side and get an applause for it. But I'm honored and grateful to be here today. I'll be very brief, just so we can have time for anyone to have any questions about what it is that I will be presenting today. But my presentation consists of a strategy, a infrastructure that is in place here in St. Louis that is being utilized by citizens and everyday residents all throughout St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and also St. Clair County, Illinois. And this main mechanism is how do we bring information, resources, tools to everyday people that needs them, and how do we empower them so that individuals are not dependent upon the everyday assistance that is being offered and provided to them. And how do we create a sense of community and sense of neighborhood where neighbors are looking out for each other and taking care of each other and being concerned about one another. And the mechanism that I believe is best for us is the Federation of Block Units, which was established in 1932. The mission of the Federation of Block Units is The mission of the Federation of Block Units is dedicated to helping residents in St. Louis community improve their neighborhoods. It was founded in 1932 by a gentleman by the name of John T. Clark. He started it as a nonpartisan organization established in North St. Louis. And once upon a time, it was due to redlining. African Americans in St. Louis was specifically placed or told to live and reside in one specific area. And in that specific area, we had the Federation of Block Units created to support those individuals and to provide the necessary socioeconomic assistance that families needed, especially during that time. What the Federation of Block Unit is, it has historically been an empowering and a crime prevention program where residents and everyday community stakeholders are involved in various efforts and initiatives that builds neighborhood pride, that builds neighborhood stabilization, that increases community advocacy, and also provides support and protection of individuals and their property. But I think what this particular call, and not just this township call, but other townships across the county and also different wards in the city of St. Louis as well, is voter education and voter registration. And what we have been doing since 1932 is educating, engaging, and empowering residents to do for self and also to advocate for self as well. We're governed by a board of directors with the assistance of block unit chairs. Some of the benefits that members have been taking advantage of the Federation of Block Units is number one, creating a sense of neighborliness in the community. developing a teamwork spirit and overcoming problems related to the community. It has been used to increase the use of current neighborhood resources and enhancing cooperation among citizens, government, and also other volunteer organizations. Now, you all may say, well, Farrakhan, what does this have to do with us? Well, as we just heard about critical race theory, as we heard about all of the rallies, all of the community mobilization efforts, where the need for these individuals that share our view, that share our perspective, the need for these voices to be heard, the need for these voices to be at places where those who are making decisions cannot deny that this issue is not an important issue, because we have an entire neighborhood standing together, working together, and collaborating together to bring this issue to the forefront. And the most important of this whole organization, of this whole infrastructure, is a block unit chair. You all may heard the term block captain. You all may heard the term street supervisor. You all may heard the term street captain, neighborhood supervisor. All in all, this person is so very important. And particularly, we're going to use the neighborhood. We're going to use the neighborhood of Wells Goodfellow. There are a total of 32 streets in the neighborhood of Wells Goodfellow, and that's in the city of St. Louis. Of those 32 streets, the Federation of Block Units went to every street, and we asked for one person, just one individual, to ask that one individual if they would be willing to work with us and to be able to step up and to be able to go to every single house on that street and to, number one, introduce themselves to them, and number two, make sure each and every person was registered to vote. And as a result, every 32 streets in Wells Goodfellow neighborhood are all registered to vote. Why? Because we had a block captain on every street. What that means is that block captain, they was in charge of getting to know every person on their street, making every resident aware of available resources and tools that are needed to support them. The block captain helped assist voter registration drives on the street. They help host block parties. They help host any event that is used to encourage neighbors on that street to come together, to work together, to grow together, to develop together, and to also to be concerned about things together. The block captains have provided neighbors with information and resources available to them, most importantly through the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. Since 1917, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis have been providing residents with everyday wraparound services, from utility assistance, from mortgage and rental assistance, from home repair assistance, from weatherization assistance, from early childhood education and Head Start assistance, from employment opportunities, as well as a host of other available sources that the Urban League provide, not just through the agency, but in addition to the Urban League partners. Another example that I like to share on how important a block captain is that a block captain is the main person that would identify what are the problems on the block, what are the issues on the street, what sidewalk needs to be addressed, what potholes need to be affixed, what elderly citizen on the street needs food assistance because she's not able to go to the grocery store on her own, what senior citizens on the street needs their medications delivered, and so forth. That is why block captains are so important, because we consider block captains to be the first line of defense when it comes to bringing resources and bringing help to those that need it. Now, what a block captain is a volunteer. They are conduits to receive and relay information to and from neighbors. They are a point person for their block to foster benefits of the block program. They provide safety and security information, advice on defensive measures, and how to provide advice on what to report and how, and also to share and connect residents to everyday resources. I know I keep saying the term resources, but resources are very, very important, especially for those communities that have been historically disinvested, historically defunded, historically redlined, and historically marginalized. Now, let's be clear, that a block captain is not a police officer. We're not asking block captains to jump into squabbles on the street. We're not asking block captains to intervene in the middle of a home invasion or in the middle of a robbery. Block captains are not vigilantes. We are not an authority in a criminal situation. We're not a neighborhood gopher. We are not asking block captains to put themselves in jeopardy or to put themselves in dangerous situations. Block captains are solely to be the eyes and ears of that individual street. And the street and the block unit is classified from stop sign to stop sign on both sides of the street. It is the block captain's job, block captain's responsibility to know every person next door to them, across the street from them, and behind them on a first name basis, having their contact information, phone number, and email, so that if there's anything that's going on the block, hey, there's a break-in at 5343. Now every neighbor on the block has been alerted that there's a break-in. Hey, there's been a series of car break-ins. Now every single person on that block have been alerted of car break-ins. If there's an individual on the street that have just lost a job, well, that block captain is able to share with that information about the next available job opportunities through job fairs, through job resources, through job training, through also education as well. As you all can see, the block captain is a very, very important person. I am a block captain on my block. And what I did was I went to my block and I identified every senior, every young person, every registered voter. And I also identified every nuisance property on my street. And I turned all of that, I turned the nuisance property list in to the police department, who are now working with the homeowners on the block to address those derelict and nuisance property. And we've identified that these issues affect not just the morale of the community, but it also affects the mental health of the individuals who are living in this community. So that's how important a block captain is. Moving right along, a block captain oversees a block unit. As I said, a block unit is a street from stop sign to stop sign. The geographical location, a block unit is defined as the geographical location of homes and or businesses on both sides of the street, from one corner down to the other corner. A block unit can be described as a homeowner, property owner, renter, business owner, not limited to a landlord, and also community organizations that also work in these neighborhoods as well. This program includes crime prevention programs, volunteer citizens, neighbors, reducing crime in the neighborhood. It's all done on a grassroots level. Neighbors getting to know neighbors, alert to potential crime and other disturbances. And also it just helps neighbors to look out for each other. You all may already be block captains. You all may already be doing the work that a block leader or a block captain have. For an example, if you're that neighbor that keeps your grass cut and keeps it tidy, you're a perfect block captain. If you're the neighbor that likes to see the kids playing in the street and say, hey, y'all be careful, y'all get out the street, cars are coming, you are a great block captain. If you are the person that on your street and you like to pick up litter, pick up trash in front of your street behind your house, you are a great block captain. If you are a person that likes to wave at your neighbor, say, hey neighbor, how's it going today? How was work today? Your house look good. Hey, I noticed something is falling off on your house. Do you need help fixing it? Those are all great qualities of block captains. And all it is neighbors looking out for neighbors. And that is what St. Louis has been missing for quite some time. People that actually care, the next person living next to them. Even though they look different, even though the house may be bigger or smaller, the car may be different, you may work at a different place, but the one commonality that we have is that we all stay on the same street, and we all want our street to be better. We want our street to be improved, and we want everyone on the street to get to know each other. Where there's block units organized, it has been proven that 84% have safer streets than those that are without block units. We've seen that study in North St. Louis, and we've also seen it in South St. Louis as well. These are some of our board members. These are some of our board members that serve on the board of directors. The board of directors, we have a president, several vice presidents, and we have representatives from all 79 neighborhoods in St. Louis City and all 93, well, not 93, but all 54 municipalities in St. Louis County. Now, we've divided the region into several areas. Each area consists of a collection of various neighborhoods. And what you're looking at on the screen is only for the city of St. Louis. And I'm just using this as an example. Area A, for an example, consists of all of these neighborhoods that you see listed here. Central West End, Skinker de Bolivar, the Bolivar Place, West End, Visitation Park, Academy, Fountain Park, Lewis Place, Vanderventer, and Hamilton Heights. And all of the individual streets and block units that are organized in all of these neighborhoods, they consistently meet on a monthly basis and they talk about issues in their neighborhood. For an example, in the Bolivar Place, we may have a group of citizens that may have a problem with speeding down their street. Well, they're trying to ask their alderperson how they can get speed bumps installed on their street to slow down traffic. Well, the neighbors in Hamilton Heights, they did that 3 years ago. So they have speed bumps and they have cameras down on their street to watch those who are speeding and also to force them to slow down. So now you have neighbors from Hamilton Heights sharing with neighbors of the Bolivar Place, which is on different ends of the city, now sharing with each other on how they can get traffic reduced to protect kids on the street. So now they're working together. Each area, they meet consistently once a month at a certain time of the month and at a certain place a month to exchange their ideas and to come about with solutions. So these are some other divisions that are divided into the Federation of Block Units. I won't go into all of them, but I just wanted to give you an example of how each block unit is organized and how they're structured. So here are some of the things that we've partaken in, that we've done in the community. We host what we call community conversations, and these community conversations are so very important. We have had conversations with Wesley Bell, the Department of Public Safety Director, Dan Isom. We've had conversations with Dr. Kendra Holmes, who is the COO of Athenia Healthcare, and Dr. Angela Claiborne of CARE STL. And we've been having these conversations with all of these individual key makers and decision makers about what is happening in their offices and how are they using their unique role in the community and in a position of leadership to benefit and to be an advocate for everyday community people. And so we host these conversations to bring their plans, to bring their ideas, to bring their strategies to the forefront of everyday people so that everyday people can have an opportunity and have a space and a platform to let these decision makers know what it is that we really need and what it is that we really want. Sometimes leadership makes decisions just with leadership. Sometimes they don't involve residents. Sometimes they don't involve the people who are going to be impacted by that decision. And so our focus through community conversations is to create that platform where we're bringing the decision makers to the people. And we stream this live. We play this on Facebook. It's on YouTube. And we also use these for our annual and monthly resident and leadership training as well. We've participated in several cleanups. The cleanup here we see was hosted by the St. Louis Democratic Central Committee with my co-chair, Kim Gamble of Clayton Township. We hosted a clean sweep in the city of Wellston and in University City, where we transformed a garden that was overgrown with growth, overgrown with illegal dumping, overgrown with a bunch of things. And we cleaned it up and transformed it to where it is now. It has been garden ready. And to this date, this garden has produced 17 watermelon. This garden has produced 24 tomatoes, 16 cucumbers, and 24 carrots. And all of these produce have been sold to a youth-based organization who are now selling these at a farmer's market. So thanks to the Democratic Central Committee for participating in that cleanup. And as you can see, some block captains and block unit members are out cleaning up their alleyway behind their house that have been a site of illegal dumping. We hosted an annual assembly on June 19th, where we swore in 8 brand new officers. We do this every year. So in addition of swearing in new residents and new officers, we have a resource fair where we have a great relationship and great partnership with our friends at Sherwin-Williams. We have great relationship and partnerships with our friend at Home Depot, and also various banks in the area as well that assist us to reward and to provide things for residents. For an example, one resident 1 year won 12 cans of paint to paint their new house. We have a Block is Beautiful contest, to where we have a contest to where neighbors who have the prettiest yard, we go around, they enter into a contest, and the prettiest yard, they win a check, and they win materials and supplies from Home Depot to keep the neighborhood beautified. We have neighborhood ambassador program where we employ young people in the neighborhood to cut grass, to provide landscaping to elderly and disabled citizens. They shoveled snow. They're also rehabbing several houses in several derelict neighborhoods that have been disinvested and disunfunded as well, with the goal of increasing youth home ownership in these neighborhoods where in some neighborhoods we may have 12 houses on one street, but one of them are occupied. It's shameful. I skip. I'll go straight ahead. We conduct block unit trainings every month, every third Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Urban League headquarters. And we're encouraging friends and family, if you're on your block and you're concerned about issues on your block, or you want to bring some positive activities, some positive excitement to your block, then the Federation of Block Units is a best mechanism to do that. As of date, we've been organizing 128 targeted blocks in the city of St. Louis, and 100 blocks in St. Louis County in these various municipalities. So if you're in a municipality and you don't see your municipality on this list, I would welcome your assistance and welcome your help in becoming a block captain and bringing this kind of structure or this kind of help and assistance to your community, starting number one with ensuring that people are registered to vote. As you all know, we have a great, very important political process coming up. And it's important that we have as many people and as many Democrats actually exercising their right to vote. There's one thing to be registered, then there's one thing to be exercising that vote. So our goal is to get people to the polls, and with the block captains, we can help. So here's my contact information. I'm located at 1408 North Kings Highway. That's the regional headquarters of Urban League Metropolitan St. Louis. I can be reached by cell at 314-626-9977 or by email at federation@urbanleague-stl.org. And Brother Harvey, that's just one of my hats, but I'll close it there and open it up for any questions if anybody have any.
Thank you very much. That's very informative. I live in Chesterfield, and there are things that you said that I'd love to see happen in my neighborhood too. I mean, this is, I think you guys have a good formula there, and I wish you much success. We'll open this up for questions.
I see there's a comment from Jennifer Slavic, and she mentioned Gina McClendon. So with Gina McClendon, who works at WashU, we were blessed to work with Gina for the first time on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act Day that we had on May 8th at Sumner High School. So we partnered with her on that. And also Annie, we are also putting those flyers in every backpack and every food box that will be distributed to the back to school giveaway that we're hosting this weekend. So thank you for that. And we received all of those flyers, and all of those flyers will be put out. And in addition to that, Annie, we will be canvassing the entire North County with Councilwoman Shalonda Webb and also Rita Hurd Days, and also for some of the North County committee persons as well with those same flyers. And we was only able to do this because we're able to count on block captains and block leaders organized by street. So this is a very helpful tool and very helpful infrastructure that I think that we all should invest in.
You know, I'm just going to jump in. Farrakhan, you're amazing. This whole block captain thing is like so exciting, and you know, for getting out this kind of information, you know, I'm getting excited about doing some voter registration packets, and you know, we've got that going. You know, that's coming up for our voter registration community engagement committee, of which I'm a part of, and also we've got a lot of other information to get to these block captains. So Farrakhan, if you'd like to, I'm just going to make a little plug. If you'd like to get in touch with Jennifer and myself, we've got more to make life easier for folks. That's what it's all about, and it's all about. You know, I think that's what's so great about being a Democrat. You know, we love our people. We love people. Yep. We want lives to be better. We want life to be better for everybody. And that's what sets us apart from people that want to deny people information and education and fair housing and fair banking and fair health care. We want the best for everybody because everybody wins. And it's all about love. I'm just going to bring it back to love. There's so much division. We've got to bring it back to love and how we love our people. And as you're talking about this, the block is beautiful, and you know, being good neighbors. It's so loving. And I just want to commend you and congratulate you on this beautiful system that you've got going on. And however we in Jefferson Township can help out, tell us what you need and how we can be of service. I cannot thank you enough for what you're doing. Bravo. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. We appreciate that.
Are there other questions at this time?
Let me just,
Alan, you have
let
any?
Let me just close with this, Harvey, if you don't mind. Every street in whether you're in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, every street is different. So one street may not need home repair resources, or one street may not need opioid resources for drug abuse and so forth. But one thing that I can say is that every street needs to be registered to vote. That's one thing. And one street, always wants to be kept clean and beautified. You know, we see people all the time. And one thing that I hate seeing, and Don, I think I shared this with you before, I hate driving and people are throwing trash out the windows. It is the most irritating thing to me. And so, every block may not need trash issues, but every block is different. And if there's a unique thing that you as a block captain want to provide for your street, the Federation of Block Units, Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and also myself, we're here to support and also share and provide the resources and tools to help you to connect with individuals on your street. So thanks, Harvey.
Very good, thank you. I also have noticed, and thanks again, big round of applause for you and the work that you do with the Urban League. Thank you. I also noticed that Representative Tracy McCreary has joined us, Tracy also is a candidate for State Senate. And Tracy, if you would like to say a few words, that would be wonderful.
Well, thank you for letting me join you tonight. I'm sorry I was a little bit late. I was asked to help out at the last minute for the Democratic Leadership Network. That's a group that we're trying to do a much better job of making sure we're messaging to everybody in all corners of Missouri. So I talked a little bit about our Medicaid expansion victory and what that means to folks. So anyway, thank you for letting me say a couple of words. I am running for the Missouri State Senate in Senator Jill Shoup's spot, and I appreciate all the friendly faces on this call. I am going to be having my campaign kickoff at Senator Jill Shoup's home September 23rd. So please mark your calendars if you can be there. I would love to see your faces. And of course, it's always good to be in a friendly crowd. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to getting some progressive Democrats together. Thanks, Harvey.
Excellent, thank you. And I also have a short announcement, if I can get it up on the screen here. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, well, it's kind of a little bit rough, but we'll do it. I have a screen to share. There we go. As many of you know, I'm on the House Redistricting Committee. Can you guys see? No, that's the wrong screen. Hold on. It does this to me sometimes. That screen, share it. Do you guys see dates and places, or do you see my Zoom profile?
We see your email.
You see the email with the House Redistricting Commission dates? Ah, excellent. Okay. So I'm on the House Redistricting Commission, and this is what we've decided on. So if you guys are interested in showing up and testifying or presenting any maps that you have put together, here's the dates and the places. There will also be an opportunity to submit them online, but the online submission date, I believe, closes on November 10th at close of business. I think we may have gotten that extended to another day, one more day, but assume it closes on the 10th. You may have heard that it was a rather contentious meeting. We had 10 Democrats and 10 Republicans on the commission, and the Republicans started out with a long explanation of tradition, and that in the state of Missouri it's tradition for the party of the governor to chair the redistricting commission, and we thought that was not fair and equitable and nonpartisan, as we had just gotten sworn in to be. So we had a long, drawn-out day where we had a number of tie votes. The Democrats, the Republicans proposed that they get the chair and we get the vice chair and the secretary. And we, of course, did not accept that. So when it came time to vote, every vote was tied. The state person who was a temporary chair suggested flipping a coin to break the tie, which we also had supported. And that, of course, again, tied 10-10, so we couldn't flip a coin to break it. And then we had a wonderful member of our committee, Jason Ludwig, who's an attorney, who presented the case that if they thought it was fair and equitable for them to have the chair and us have the vice chair and the secretary, that they should be willing to do a coin toss and let whoever wins win if they thought that was a good deal for one party to have one and the other party to have the other two. And they, of course, said, no, we're not going to do that. So after many, many long hours, this was supposed to take a half hour. We didn't resolve it until 8 hours into the meeting. We came to an agreement that they could chair and we would vice chair. However, the chair and the vice chair would sit on the podium together and take turns running every other public meeting. So we have some, because otherwise the commission would have had to have been dissolved and we would have just been right back to where we started. So that's where we are. Those are the dates. There's lots and lots of groups around that are running training on developing your own map, or if you wish to participate in endorsing one of their maps. There's a lot of that going on. As that information becomes a little more available, I'll see what I can do to circulate some of it. But again, I am a nonpartisan, which is interesting, independent commissioner. So we'll see how all this works out. It's going to be interesting. By the way, if we cannot agree on a map at the end of our 5-month engagement, then it goes to a panel of appellate judges who will be appointed by the head of the Missouri Supreme Court.
And Harvey, do you have any idea as to when the actual venues of these cities will be announced?
No, I don't. And the venues and the times are being looked at. I don't know. Our chair people, our vice chair and their chair are working that out, along with the state, because we've asked the state to make available video conferencing technology. So that puts a challenge on the table for them to find appropriate locations where the technology either will work or is provided by the venue.
Harvey, this is Florence. You're mentioning maps. Could you explain that a little bit to the group?
Well, maps can be gerrymandering, or they can be fair and equitable. And there's software out there that will give you all kinds of detail. You can draw lines anywhere you wish, and it will come back and tell you ethnic makeup, political makeup, income makeup, all kinds of information about the districts that you've drawn. And there are a lot of groups that are educating the public on how to do that right now. Can't remember the names of some of the public ones right now, but if people are interested, you can drop me an email, and I'll put together what's been sent to me that's available to the public to use.
Okay, thank
you. The software has gotten so good that you can draw a map and submit it, and I haven't done this personally, but apparently you can run it through the software, a number of these packages, and the software will come back and give you the demographics of what's been drawn. So it's really gotten very sophisticated. So this is going to be a very interesting exercise, because there is no pulling the wool over someone's eyes. The numbers are all going to be exposed. With any other questions? Okay, and Nicole Greer is on the Senate Redistricting Commission, and so is Farrakhan. So we have some good representation from this area, and thank you. If there's no other discussion or announcements, we'll pause just for a moment and then we'll close the meeting.
Harvey, I have one announcement. Florence Pullen, president of Creve Coeur Township. We will be beginning our regular monthly township meeting on September 20th, same time, and supposedly by Zoom, right, Harvey?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We'll continue to meet.
Yes.
We'll continue to meet by Zoom, and even once we decide to meet in person, it looks like Zoom is something that a lot of folks are interested in. So we may also, if I can figure out the technology, try to do both. But for the foreseeable future, yes, September 20th for Zoom. If you have any suggestions on programs, speakers that you would like to hear, please send them to me or Florence. And with that, again, I'd like to thank our speakers for the evening, and also thank my companion in this, Florence, in setting all this up and keeping it going, and Alan Harris-Dalt for backing me up on the technology. And thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Good night,
Thanks, everyone.